So a reporter caught me at the back, and she said to me, "Did I just see you kidding around?" And I said, with Chi and with Crystal Hudson. I said, "Oh, yeah." So she says, "But," I says, "But what? But what exactly? Are you saying that I'm not supposed to, because I'm Vickie Paladino, and I'm not supposed to get along or kid around? You don't know who Vickie Paladino is then, do you?"
A day in your life. Walk us through a day in your life.
Okay. Well, it starts early. I usually get up about 5:30. Late for me is 6 o'clock. The reason why I get up that early is because I like to have quiet time. And how do I start my day? I go into the kitchen, I get myself my cup of coffee, and I turn on I Love Lucy.
Okay.
I do not turn on the news. I go to Peacock, and I watch an I Love Lucy rerun, either 1 or 2, and depending on what time I have to be out of the house.
Okay.
I'm usually out of the house by 9:30, and I come either here to my office or I have to go directly to an appointment or a school or something. And then I'll come back to the office, do what I need to do here. Usually it's booked with people coming to see me. When I mean people, I don't mean just constituents. That I save for a separate time. I'll meet with commissioners, and I'll meet with just business at hand, what is affecting the district. And then the day goes from there. Sometimes I'm done by 5, but it's never really done. You go home, you have a little bite to eat if you can, and then like tonight, I will be going out again by 6:30, and I won't be home before 9:30. And that's basically my day. And then I get myself ready and go to bed to start the day again. It's just goes and goes. And what I've started to do, or what we did right out of the gate, was we send out a newsletter once a week, an email newsletter. It goes out to thousands of people now. And it tells everybody exactly what's going on in the district, what I've done in the district that week. So it keeps people up to speed, because it's the only way to communicate with people. We talked earlier about paper and magazines and stuff. No. And people want digital. People want to see. People want to hear. So I sit at this desk like yesterday. I welcomed everybody back for the new year. It's the first week of the new year. And I rattled off a bunch of stuff that's going on in the district. You had questions. Even though my office was closed, we were working remotely. And I wanted to address the issues at hand. And that video went out right away. I'm very much about people and transparency, and then being aware of what's going on. And that's basically it.
Now, speaking of that, you've become very popular on Twitter. You have a fan base. You have a silent fan base. You have, I know personally, progressive Democrats that secretly love you. When do you do your tweeting?
I tweet whenever I feel like it. Now, there's times where if I fall asleep, if I'm lucky enough, and I fall asleep at 9, 10 o'clock at night, or 11 o'clock, I could wake up.
In the middle of the night and tweet?
Sick, right?
Now, I saw when you sent a text, you did talk to text. Is that how you tweet also?
I do. No, I don't. No.
Oh, you don't?
No. What I will do with my text messages, because everybody could do this with their thumbs or whatever it is they do. I cannot do that, and I won't pretend to do it. I'm a boomer, they tell me, and that's okay. I don't take offense. What I do is my son does a lot of my tweeting.
Okay.
I tell him what I want, and I tell him this is how I want it said, and he just takes it from there, runs it by me, shoots it to me. I read it. I tell him it's fine. Put it out. Let's do it. And there you go.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Now, there was a tweet that was even retweeted by Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
That was interesting. Which tweet was that?
I think it was a Daniel Penny related tweet.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Like, what's it like when you get that much attention? Millions of views.
I think it's just part of my job. You know, you put it out there, and some people refer to Twitter as the Wild Wild West. I don't. I view Twitter as just another form of communication, an important form of communication. Love it, hate it, it's still a vital part of everybody's everyday life. The people you hear that they say they're not on Twitter, they're either very old or they're lying to you. It's as simple as that. Because I don't believe there's one person that does not go on Twitter just to browse it just to see what's going on.
I mean, people are out of touch also with what's
Yes.
going on, because there's a lot of people that reject what's going on. They just don't want to hear about it.
Well, look, in the life that we lead today, right now, do you think people want to make politics 90% of their lives?
No.
No, nobody does. How did this all come about? This came about because of lack of trust in government, lack of leadership, and people being lied to. Because I know prior to being an elected and just being Vickie Paladino, I had things to do with my day. Okay? Yes, I happen to be politically inclined. Like I was always focused on what was going on with the federal government, state government, city government. But that's me. That's not 90% of our population. I would say freely that today 90% of the people don't want to be involved the way they're involved.
Correct.
But their everyday life is being affected by what's happening. So in order to be informed, you have to be informed, which means you have to be involved. So as an elected, what I try to do is make that burden a little bit easier for people. And because I've built a trust base, because I'm truthful and I'm transparent, because of that base that I've built, I deliver my message. And when my message comes out, people believe what I have to say because I'm telling you the truth. You need to dissect. You know, I often say fourth grade English, everybody. Because people don't want to get caught up in the fine print of things. They just don't. They don't have the time and they don't have the patience.
Right.
So you need to break it down. Prop 1, for example. Now, I was very vocal against Prop 1.
Right.
Now, everybody said, well, that's about women's rights. Well, you're damn right it is. It was about women's rights. But had nothing to do with abortion. Nothing at all to do with abortion. And what they did, the left, I'll have to say the left, what they did was they put it was a Trojan horse. Simple fact is, and I went to the state GOP, and I said, I would like to see them put out mailers so that the everyday person could actually understand what Prop 1 means. Now let's break it down. Prop 1 was, do you want boys in your daughter's bathroom? Do you think guys that are not biologically female in any way should be competing against you in a tennis game? No. Do you think that Italian girl should have got her face punched in during the Olympics by a trans male? Okay, no. They're built differently. Anybody want to change that any which way they want? They cannot change a fact. That's what Prop 1 was about.
But what's happening, right, is this phrase, women's rights.
Yes.
What you're talking about are women's rights.
Correct.
But both sides are talking about women's rights. They're talking about it differently. But the catchphrase
Totally different.
"women's rights" has become abortion. It means different things to different people.
Look, if you're going to talk about abortion, then talk about abortion and a woman's rights in that way. Now we circle back. You know, we go back to the right to choose, your right of choice, right? Well, I was against the mandates because it was your right as an individual. If you wanted that vaccine. Vickie Paladino was never anti-vax. She still is not anti-vax. I could care less if you got 6 of them. I don't care if you got 12. The point is, the person who chose not to get that vaccine has the right to say no to that vaccine. So when you get the women who say, well, it's my God-given right to get an abortion, well, you know what? It's that woman's God-given right to say no, I don't want the vaccine. It's a two-way street. See, they're running you down a one-way street. No. It's a two-way street. It goes back and forth. It's a right lane and a left lane. And let's decide what lane you're in. And that's how you do it.
And a lot of times this happens with legislation, and you can speak to this very well, that a package of bills are introduced. It's all woven in. Who has time to read it? If I sit down and try and read a bill, it's written, I say, in ye old English. Like, it's words that no one uses anymore.
Right.
So how's the public supposed to understand these things?
Well, that's why I break it down.
Yeah.
Very simple. I take whatever it is and I simplify it.
Like, explain that. The great example, I don't mean to cut you off, is the jaywalking issue, right?
Right.
Everyone jaywalks, even though it's illegal.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, the city council made jaywalking legal.
Right.
So what are the implications of that?
Well, the implications are, if God forbid you're driving your car and someone is jaywalking and you hit that person, you're now liable. the whole thing here with everything that's going on is and it's very unfortunate because we're not conquering issues here to make this city better. This city has got to come back from a slump that it suffered from de Blasio. Mm-hmm. And what upsets me more than anything, being a New Yorker born and raised, loving this city more than anything, I'm not leaving, is that we are taking precious time and we're wasting it on jaywalking. You got to be kidding me. Seriously, we've got mental health issues. We've got homeless issues. We've got crime. We've got migrants. We've got school issues. We've got serious stuff going on in this city. Mm-hmm. We got our cops. We've got our firemen. We've got congestion pricing. We've got major issues that needs to be addressed. And we're going to worry about jaywalking? Really now? Come on. And that's probably the most frustrating thing for me about this job is that you want to make a difference. You want to do something here to bring the city back. We have not bounced back from 2020. Not at all.
What does it take to bounce back? What do we need?
Economics. Money. We need to bring business back. We need to put people back in their seats in the offices. I believe people should get up every day, get out of their pajamas, and go to work. Mm-hmm. I think that did so much from the guy who's selling the cup of coffee on the cart to the people who own retail, dress shops, and clothing stores, to the bars, to the restaurants. New York was pumping. Mm-hmm. Do you remember how much fun it was? I mean, just think of the hustle and bustle on the street. I want that back again. Mm-hmm. Lower New York was amazing. Mm-hmm. What a place to be. You go up Upper East Side. I love the Upper East Side. Oh my God. The Upper West Side. Bergdorf, Saks, going for lunch. Come on. Can you beat that?
No.
Now it's dead.
Yeah.
We killed the city.
So what has to happen? I think, to your point, city council has a lot more power than people realize. Yes. I think when there's a presidential election like we just had, everyone's focused on that.
Oh, yeah.
But people don't realize how much the city council impacts their day-to-day life. All the issues you mentioned, crime, public safety, taking the subway.
Yes, 100%.
These are local issues.
And this is why local politics is so very important. It starts right here at the base. Mm-hmm. And then from there, picture a tree. You have the trunk. That's the strong part. As the tree grows taller, the trunk needs to get stronger, and then it branches out. And that's why they call it branches of government. So we need the local level, we are the base, and we are what determines what happens. Now, when you sit in city council and you hear things, like I don't want to say certain things, because what I want to say, I can't say.
Okay.
Which is, our committees are a waste of time. I sit on committees. Do you want to know when you get the agenda for the committee?
When?
You get the agenda the night before. Mm-hmm. How are you supposed to study up on what the frig you're going to talk about the next day in council? Mm-hmm. How are you supposed to do that? If you got an hour to go
Who's responsible for that?
The chairman, the chair people.
The chair of each committee is responsible for distributing the agenda. 100%. But everyone distributes it the day before?
Yeah. I'm on like 7 committees.
Are you a committee chair?
No, and I don't want to be.
You don't want to be?
No. I do not want it. This job doesn't pay you enough, honestly, because this job is literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, mm-hmm. because this is the city that never sleeps. Mm-hmm. Go back to your original question about city council.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about race anymore. I just don't. Because you know what? There was a time in this city where everybody got along fine. Nobody noticed the color of anybody's skin. I hate to break it to people, okay? But they have watered down the word racism, which meant something. Meant something back in my day, okay? Today it means nothing. They use it like every day. Mm-hmm. If you disagree with somebody, you're a racist. Mm-hmm. If you disagree with somebody, you're a xenophobe. Stop the name calling, mm-hmm. and just get down to brass tacks. Are we here to solve a problem? Are we here to fix an issue? Are we here to make things better? Or are we here to call each other names?
Right.
Make up your mind.
Right.
Because that's what infuriates me. I got elected to do a job. My job was to protect District 19 and to serve District 19. I'm an elected official. That's what I am. I work for you. You pay my salary. I owe it to my constituents. Now, happily, people like what I have to say. You know, I'm glad about that. So through that, I've grown, whereas I could speak fluently about major issues, and people want to actually hear from me. By that, I mean Newsmax, Fox.
Right.
You know, I go on radio shows,
Yeah.
and they actually want to hear what Vickie thinks about something.
Right.
So that speaks a lot to what I've managed to accomplish unknowingly, just being who I am, and somebody catching wind of something I've said in a committee hearing. Okay, and then something I tweeted out maybe later that day. And before you know it, it was done just because of who I am. Not to be on TV, no.
Right.
No.
Because you're giving your authentic
that's
opinion.
it. Just to give insight to what's going on.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And we're not. We've taken cops out of subways. We put cops back in subways. We've got Governor Hochul dictating to us down here. She, to me, needs to go in 26. It's time for her to get out. She has wrecked this city. You know, Cuomo was involved in 2020 during de Blasio. You know, he crowned himself king that April morning. I said emperor. Back in those days, I said he crowned himself emperor. And he decided that everything was going to get closed, shut down. Come on, huh? With no thought process. See, nobody thinks about tomorrow. They're all about just today. No. You have to think about what comes in the long, what you decide today and how it's going to affect not just 6 months from now, but a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, a decade from now. You're making laws. They don't take it seriously, in my opinion. They're very flippant about it, yet they're very stoic. Ooh, very stoic. And I'm very unimpressed.
Unimpressed.
Very unimpressed. Totally unimpressed.
Now, you're in the majority, the minority.
Minority.
You are in the minority in the city council. You mentioned social media. That helps you spread your message as a mouthpiece.
Yep.
How has it impacted your role in the city council, the use of social media to get your word out there?
Well, I think it depends on who you talk to.
Okay.
Some will say, Vickie's this and Vickie's that. Well, okay, that's fine. See, you got to understand something. Their opinion of me means nothing. I am not here for you to like me or to dislike me. If you like me, that's great. If you don't like me, that's okay too. But please, what's the reason? Is it simply because I don't agree with you? Because the world is built on that. This is a 50-50 world. You're not supposed to agree on everything. How boring would we be as a society? We need that balance. That's what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's how, when I talk with people, I don't ever begrudge them their opinion because they're entitled to it. And I don't have to agree with it. But that doesn't mean I don't have to like you.
Right.
You might be the greatest person in the world. We just don't agree.
Right.
I like chocolate milk. You might not. I like coffee. You like tea. That's okay. You know, this is the world we used to live in. Used to tell a joke. You know, when you can't put Seinfeld back on the stage, can you imagine Richard Pryor today or George Carlin, for anybody out there listening to this who might actually remember who they are? They got up on stage and they did what they had to do. And they were hysterical. You took comedians out of campuses because you didn't like their comedy. I mean, how sick have we become?
Right.
That we can't even laugh.
Right. So in that vein, who is a fellow political personality that maybe is on the opposite side of the aisle that people would be surprised to hear that you actually have a good relationship with?
Let me think. I think I get along pretty well with just about everybody.
Okay.
I wouldn't say there's any one person. Actually, I think across the board, you know, Chai, Osei.
Yeah, she.
Chi. Doesn't matter. He knows. It's okay. When we did the most recent thing about the real estate deal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The broker
Bill,
fee.
The broker fee.
Okay.
Now, I
You
disagree
guys,
with that.
Correct.
Okay. So at the end of that meeting, I walked over. He was sitting there. Crystal Hudson is right there, and Salam is on the end. I don't think Salam and I will ever, Yusuf Salam, ever, never,
Get
ever,
along.
never, ever. Not that we don't get along. We will always be cordial and polite because that's what you should do. Again, courtesy.
Right.
Always courtesy.
You're cordial and polite, but you don't
Cordial.
agree on the issues.
No, don't agree at all. I don't even believe he should be holding the seat he's holding.
Wow.
I go as far as to say that.
Wow.
I will say. So Crystal comes over, and Chai and I are kidding around, and she said, "Oh, did we reach a plateau here?" So I said, I shook Crystal's hand. I says, "Look, this is where you guys get it all wrong. See, you think because I disagree with you, I don't like you. Well, that nothing could be further from the truth, you know." So Chi then says, "Hey, you could be Martha Stewart, and I could be Snoop Dogg." I says, "Yeah, but you won't get this old broad in a bikini, I'll tell you that." So he says, Crystal then says, "But Chai will wear the bikini." I say, "No, I'll tell you what." I says, "My husband used to be a lifeguard. I got a pair of Speedos. I'll give you those." And we cracked up and we laughed. And I went my way and they went their way. And that was it. So a reporter caught me at the back. And she said to me, "Did I just see you kidding around?" And I said, with Chi and with Crystal Hudson. I said, "Oh, yeah." So she says, "But," I says, "But what? But what exactly? Are you saying that I'm not supposed to, because I'm Vickie Paladino, and I'm not supposed to get along or kid around? You don't know who Vickie Paladino is then, do you?" And that's sad. I said, "That's it." And I walked away. You know, because utter shock. Why? You know what I can't stand? I can't stand hate. And I've been like that since I am a little kid. I broke up fights in schoolyards. I was this little itty bitty 3 foot, maybe 30, 40, 60 pound girl. And I would break up because I never liked it. You're not allowed to hate. You could dislike. And I mean that from my heart. You could dislike somebody tremendously. But as soon as you bring that word hate, that changes everything. That's a game changer. And I can't tolerate that. And I won't tolerate it.
Well, you know, with this hate and people that love you, people that don't like you, how do you toe that line? And how do you construct what you say and how to portray yourself?
We talked about this earlier also. When I have a constituent who, you know, this is a big district. I am very well liked. And I appreciate each and every one of my constituents, whether they like me or dislike me. And when I ran in 23, I made it a point to put my campaign office in part of my district where I knew I would have a problem.
Okay.
Because people have this fabrication in their head about who Vickie Paladino is. And I wanted to be in the belly of the beast. And I wanted people to come. It was a storefront, and it was done beautifully.
Where was this?
In Bay Terrace.
Okay.
And it was done beautifully. You know, couch, TV, the reception area. There's always like coffee or tea or whatever anybody wanted to drink, a piece of cake, water, whatever. Because I wanted it to be inviting for people to come in. And those that came in, after they could spend 15 minutes, a half an hour, 45 minutes, I gave them whatever time they needed. Because they needed to know who I was.
Right.
And it was a hug. And it was, you know what? I've never voted Republican in my life. You're nothing like I thought you were. You're going to be my first vote that I've ever voted for Republican. I heard that time and again and again and again. And then I brought very important issues like Local Law 97, and I hosted town halls. Now that wasn't because I was already in 21. But I believe in doing town halls. I believe in bringing whatever the issues are that are going to affect a major portion of my district. I host it. I've had as many as 300 to 400 people in a town hall. And if a homeless shelter was opening up, I went on air. I did my thing. I told everybody that a homeless shelter is coming to Douglaston, Little Neck. It was proposed before I took office. But what I was going to do for the people of Little Neck and Douglaston was host a town hall, whereas they could meet the Commissioner of Homeless Services, where they could meet Samaritan Village, the heads of, where they could meet even down to the security guard. over 250 people showed up at the Zion Church because you cannot keep things behind big brown doors.
Right.
You need to open the doors.
Right.
And you need to let the air in and the people in so that they could hear exactly what's going to be going on. And I promised them. We set up a community line where every couple of months they're in contact. But I promised them this office would be at their beck and call. And that's another thing council members cannot brag about. Because a lot of them work remotely. Mm-hmm. How do I know that? Because I get a lot of them that come to this office from other districts.
Okay. A lot of constituents.
A lot of constituents from other council members' offices. I've gone here, her office is closed. I've gone there, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Mm-hmm. And my constituent service is second to none.
Yeah.
I am telling you, it's amazing. Yeah. But it's about, like I said, just bringing it like College Point. Their roads under construction since 2017. They had to bring College Point up to the 21st century. And that took years. But the one who came before me, the council member, may he rest in peace, he passed away, Paul Vallone. It stopped. The work stopped. These people were living in dirt and muck and mire and streets torn up. They had to bring them from the late 1800s, early 1900s, no joke. Because that town dates back to the 1600s. It was a harbor town. And they had to redo it. Mm-hmm. My office got on. This was one of my top priorities when I took office. So what did I do? Had everybody in my office here for a meeting. Yeah. Everybody that was going to make it go tick and tock. We babysat that job. We made sure it got done. We had to incorporate DDC, DOT, and DEP. First time out of the box. Never a politician in my life, and I still don't consider myself a politician. And we cut the ribbon on it in June of this year. Their roads are back. Their water is separated from their sewage. We babysat that job like you don't know. And I hosted 2 town halls to let the people know exactly, just not my videos, because I would do videos like every couple of months to let them know status and what was going on. It's all about knowledge.
Yeah, and getting people in the room.
And people know that they could trust me. And one thing about Vickie, good or bad, she is there to deliver the message. When we had the migrant respite center in College Point, that was something. But I stayed on that. I worked with the mayor's office on that. Yeah. The mayor's office was by my side through the entire thing. I do want to give kudos to Mayor Adams and his administration because he does not get any from this city council. This city council wants to see this mayor gone. And we've got a lot to think about, everybody, in 25. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. And I will tell you this. Mayor Adams, as far as I go, and as far as my district goes, we got a satellite precinct here because of him. Our new police commissioner, Jessica Tish, who I get along with phenomenally. Name a commissioner. Zach Eisel. Like that. Yeah. Okay. These are he has been amazing. Yeah. Now, when I say he, I mean collectively as a group. Yeah. So I want to say this. I want to say, as far as Mayor Eric Adams goes, and as far as District 19 goes, I thank him and we thank him because we are much better off. Yeah. And my city council has done everything in their power, and I will not name names. But they have done everything in their power to strip him of his powers.
So
go ahead.
What happens next?
What happens next is a bloody, ugly primary.
What do you want to happen as a result of that?
Well, I'm hoping he wins the primary. I'm hoping he comes out of the primary. We have to see. There's whispers of Cuomo coming in, and that'll revert back to how short are people's memories. You know, there's a lot to think about here. We have the Brad Landers. Then we have somebody with the last name that starts with a Z.
We have Zellner Myrie and Zoran.
There it is.
Zoran.
Now, that guy...
Talk about a Jew hater.
You gotta... This guy, he's dangerous. But he's running.
What about Vickie Paladino for mayor?
Yeah, that's hysterical. Yes, I've been asked. And I've been asked very seriously.
Yeah, I know.
I've been asked by police officers. I've been asked by a lot of people.
Okay.
No. And I'll tell you why. First off, I'd have to leave my position here. First and foremost. And if I did not have to leave my position here, I might have done it. But I owe it to my district to stay exactly where I am.
Okay.
And you cannot run for 2 offices at one time. Ask me again in 4 years, and I may have another answer for you.
Okay.
But I think I would make a damn good mayor.
I think you would too.
A leader.
Yeah.
We lack leadership.
Yeah.
And it's on every level.
Yeah.
And that's why Trump won.
Yeah.
Trump won because it wasn't, and I say this all the time, it had nothing to do with a D, had nothing to do with an R, it had nothing to do with an I for independent or a B for blank. It had everything to do with we the people.
Yeah.
The people voted.
They did.
And he stands for the people. And this is what I have to bring across. It's not about the D, it's not about the R. It's about what are you going to deliver for the people that hired you to do this job?
Exactly.
What are you going to deliver? And I hope I deliver everything that they expect.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. What's the best compliment anyone could ever give to you?
Thanks for doing a really great job. Just thanks, Vic. Thanks for everything. I get choked up.
Aw.
Because I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Such a wonderful feeling.
I do. It is a wonderful feeling because, when you get to a certain age and you make career changes, it's never too late. I sat across from somebody today who was 40 years old. He was all wrapped up in his age. And he says, I says, what are you kidding me? You got your whole life ahead of you. You could change your career 4 or 5 more times. You're only 40. I said, I took a sharp turn at 60. Life is about change. Embrace change. Change is good. Sometimes. But for the most part.
Yeah.
Ride the tide.
Yeah.
Ride the tide. But don't ever be afraid to buck the tide. Because riding the tide sometimes is too easy. Sometimes the best lessons that are learned through a fight and a battle and an uphill battle, whether it be personal in a marriage, whether it be personal with your kids, whether it be personal, whether it be professional. They're battles that will only make you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And to quote my mother, it's a good life if you don't weaken. And that's it. Time waits for no man. It just keeps marching on. And that's it.
People are feeling discouraged about New York City, whether it has to do with politics and the mayor and everyone up in arms, all the negative news. Hey, the negative headlines every day certainly don't help, that there's never anything positive that's elevated. And part of the reason I like to do what I do and talk to elected officials about the good work that they're doing is because it's not covered in the mainstream media.
Exactly.
But what needs to be done to change this narrative? How do you tell people to be encouraged? You're saying New York City needs to come back. We've been saying that for a long time. What actually needs to be done?
Well, I said it before, and it stands true. We lost 450,000 people. 450,000 New Yorkers left.
That moved away from New York.
They left. Yeah. Whether they went upstate, whether they went Long Island, or whether they went south, west, wherever they went.
Left the city.
They left the city. They left the 5 boroughs. Encouraging people is getting more and more difficult because of the suffocation and mistrust in government. Government is trying to control our lives. As soon as government gets too involved in our lives, that's when things start to go downhill. You should have power over your own life. We should have power over our own lives. But they are dictating to us the way things should be. And I'm going to tell you, as I said earlier, we have not recovered from the COVID debacle that we lived through. Psychologically, it was a disaster. Just what it did for people, like we talked about earlier, when I said about the hustle and bustle and getting people back. You need a heartbeat to live. This city's heart is dying. The heartbeat is dying. You need to get people back, but you need law and order. This is a lawless city. We've become a city of no laws, no consequences. The city council has done that. They are to blame.
So then what do we have to do? Get people to vote differently in the upcoming election?
You have to be aware of who you're voting for.
Because I agree, we need to go back to work.
I spoke last night. And when I spoke last night, I was very clear. And the people in the room were young. young people in their 20s and 30s, early 40s. I said, listen, there's 51 city council seats. 51. Every single one of them is up for grabs in this year, 25. How many people know that? Not many.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've got the guts and you've got some background, you don't need a PhD to hang on the wall to run for office. What you need is life experience.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know yourself. You need to be able to judge and have proper judgment and be able to walk a fine line, which is the middle, and be able to take that right turn and that left turn need be. Flexibility. And if you think you've got it, run for office. Because right now, the way things are going, if this city council stays as is, I hate to say it, I'll fight like hell. And my fellow Republicans will fight like hell, and the few common sense Democrats that we have. I often wonder why there aren't more Democrats in our common sense caucus. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Why is that?
Are they afraid of their party? What are you afraid of? See, these Democrats, what happened with the Democrats, the radicals, what happened was when they see everything going down, instead of them trying to change things and make it better, they double down and make it worse. And this is what's happening.
But they think they're making it better.
They think they're making it better. I can't wrap my head around that psychology.
Uh-huh.
And I often wonder why, and I started with de Blasio with this. If you hate this city so much, because he killed this city. Well, in 8 years, he killed the city.
But he would never say he hates the city.
Yeah, but he did. By his actions. Actions speak louder than words.
That's true.
Okay? And when that cop got that bucket of water dumped on his head in 2020, that was the start of the downpour of the cops going down the drain.
So we need to elect new people is the solution here.
You need leadership. You need new leadership.
Because it's like the chicken or the egg. It's hard to get people engaged and excited about a candidate to vote for when government is the problem. It's
very hard.
It's hard to convince people
this
to care.
Is what makes me want to run.
Right.
For higher office.
Like mayor?
Well, no, no, higher than that. I would say what people need is somebody with a spine, somebody with a backbone that's not afraid to say what's wrong and then try to fix it. Mm-hmm. And be brave enough to fix it. Take the consequences that come with fixing a problem.
Correct.
And because there's
accountability.
Accountability. Right now, zero accountability. You know, just a very short story. When you used to be late with a library book, certain libraries had a rule. So let's say it cost you $10 a day that you're late. Let's just say. So you're 3 days late, 4 days late, whatever it is. The librarian used to make you take a stack of books and put them back on the shelf in the proper order. It's just now take the mindset of that simple little task. Mm-hmm. But it's holding
people
that
accountable.
person accountable, that little kid accountable for not being on time with their book.
Yeah.
It starts so small. Mm-hmm. And parents need to do this.
Let's end with a message of hope. Give everyone a message of hope.
Okay.
From you, Vickie Paladino, City Council member. A lot of things are running amok. What's a message of hope for everyone?
Oh, gosh. Shit, man. A message of hope for the people in New York would be this. That please stick around. Because without you, we will surely die. Because we need good people. We need the good to conquer the evil. And don't anybody make the mistake of thinking that this is not a battle of good versus evil, because it surely is. We're living it, and that's okay, because I've seen New York go down, and I've seen it come back up, and I've seen it go down. This perhaps is the worst downslide I've ever seen, because too many people use the word hate. If everybody could take that word hate, just put it in a box and put it on a shelf, and just look at a person for who they are, and not just what they could bring to the table, but who they are. Make a friend, smile, stick around. It's going to get better. I promise it's going to get better.
Thank you.